Welcome to Find Your Strong, the podcast that's here to help you free yourself from food rules, fitness guilt, and those weird detox teas.
Oh, do not get me started, Ella.
All right, I won't. I'm Ella, nutritionist and intuitive eating counselor.
And I'm Christine, personal trainer, intuitive eating counselor, and your hype woman for joyful movement.
You are, woohoo! Together we talk to experts, share stories, and hopefully leave you feeling a bit more at home in your body.
So if you're ready, let's find your strong. Welcome. We didn't decide who was going to say welcome, Ella.
Well, you just took that decision right out of hand. I do like it when you start because I never know what to say other than hi.
I mean, who knows what to say?
Today
we've got a topic that's, it's very of the moment, as in both of us have experienced this ourselves over the last week. And it is body image disruptions or disruptors. I think that's what they're called, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And it basically means a trigger that, so you might be feeling, I'm feeling quite good. I'm feeling myself. I'm okay at the minute. I'm not worrying about my body or how I look or how I'm perceived by the outside world. And then all of a sudden you catch yourself in a mirror, or, like me, you go get your hair cut and you have to sit in front of this massive mirror in the harshest light you've ever seen. And you're like, oh,
How do they do that?
I don't understand. And then I'm like, oh, do I look? Is that really how I look? Do I have that many wrinkles? It's like, what is going on? So it is about, and which can then set you back. And we can talk about it later, but I am prone to body checking, or I've had body dysmorphia in the past. And it's something that I have stepped away from, but I can be easily drawn back into if I don't really be mindful of that. So that's something. Over to you, Ella.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd like to find a person who doesn't have those body image disruptors ever. I think there are degrees as to how triggering they are to every individual, but I think it's almost impossible in our society not to have them because of what we're led to believe is the right way to look, the right weight to have, whether that is in your face and very overtly or covertly through the people we see, say, on telly, on social media. And even those people, I bet you any money, have those moments where they look at themselves and like, oh, holy shit. And some people listening might have seen the post that I posted last week where I'm just going to share this now. I went to a little dance fit class, having a great time, being incredibly awful at the steps, and I was just having having a laugh, having a little jig, and I just caught a glimpse in the window of myself. And apart from the complete lack of rhythm, I also thought, oh my God, I look massive. And I've not really, I try not to body check too much, but that took me by surprise because I was having a good time. There wasn't anything in my head that thought, oh, I need to check out what I look like. And it kind of got me in that moment. And I thought, oh, okay. So what am I going to do about it? I also noticed how my clothes felt in that moment. And I noticed that before as well. I tried to sort of put it out of my mind, but they felt tight. They felt tighter than they had before. And that combined with that glimpse in the window kind of made me think, oh, okay. And then I had a moment where I thought, well, at least I'm moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm moving, I'm burning calories. And then I had a thought, okay, I might not have dinner. And then I reined it back in and I thought, no, what are you talking about? You're going to have dinner because you will be hungry after this. And also, the movement is for fun. It's not for losing weight. And it never has been. It never was meant to be. But I had those thoughts. I had that in that moment. That was sort of an initial jump. And thought that was really interesting to kind of
Um,
notice that.
I think it's interesting also because you are somebody in a straight size body, but you were like, I feel massive or I look massive to
Mhm,
you, obviously.
mhm,
That was at that moment in time, that was your perspective.
mhm,
I think it's really helpful to anybody listening because yeah, we're not gurus, and I think we've always said that.
mhm,
In the
mhm.
non-Tony Robbins way of not being your guru, we are definitely not your guru. Um, and yeah, I think that's really brave of you to kind of share it because it is the fact that you considered, oh, I'm not going to have dinner or I'm going to, how much time did it take for your brain to go, this is bollocks, sod that. I'm going to take care of myself. And how long did it take you to rein in real time, to rein those thoughts in and to
Hmm.
get back?
Yeah, I mean, luckily it was very quick. The next song came on, and I had other things to think about. So
Really?
we moved from one dance step to another, and I was like, oh, holy shit, I need to do that. So it didn't take long, but I think that is only because I've been practicing this for a while, and it's sort of made me realize that I am actually it was an interesting experience because it made me realize that I'm not immune to those thoughts and I'm not someone who's sort of above it all. I get them all the time, but I sort of come to a place where I can accept that they're there and then move on rather than go into, I need to fix this uncomfortable feeling that I'm getting from the experience I've just had. Um, that probably would have been me a few years back. I would have probably come up with a plan, how am I going to fix this? And now I am practicing to allow that thought and that sort of response to be there without actually necessarily doing anything about it. So, yeah, I think
This
because
is
yeah.
This is what Marie Campos calls body image distress,
Mm,
where you're feeling uncomfortable, and
mm,
it's that kind of knowing that there is nothing to fix. That's a
mm,
really being able to accept that is difficult when in the moment you're feeling that distress.
totally.
But the distress doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your
Mm,
body or
that's
that
it.
there's anything needing to be fixed. And the only thing needing to be fixed, why? What needs to be fixed? But that's only based on somebody's definition of what okay is.
Hmm.
And that's not a definition that I want to spend my life aspiring towards because it is going to just waste your life.
Yeah.
Never going to win.
No, exactly that. I mean, it's what we discussed with Stephanie Michelle when she was on that there's two things, two truths at the same time. Yes, that feels uncomfortable seeing that reflection in the mirror, and the thought that kind of originates from seeing your reflection, that feels uncomfortable. And it doesn't mean I have to do anything about it. It doesn't mean I have to fix anything. And my body is good as it is even though it can't dance in my in my situation. But
Um,
yeah.
there's glimmers that I get even in I call them the darker times when I kind of get absorbed into these where
Mm,
the disruptors really do disrupt me. But there's seconds or within that I see as real positives because
mm,
even you're thinking about your nervous system when you're kind of really activated or you're in that
mm,
more kind of flat stage where you're kind of low and everything. I can feel these glimmers of actually, wouldn't it be nice if I just didn't have to change anything or I didn't have to worry?
mm,
Like, wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to worry about wrinkles or cellulite?
mm,
Because
mm,
you don't. And
mm,
the idea of not having to worry about that and being okay now
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
seems, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lovely thing to actually conceptualize. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely. It reminds me of something a client said to me in a session last week. Let me just see if I can get that. She read it in a book somewhere, and it was a question that she actually used and asked herself, which is, what would you be doing, or what would you be if there wasn't anything wrong with you? Because a lot of us think, oh, there's something wrong with us. Be that our looks, be that because, we have these really high expectations of what would you be what would be happening for you if there was nothing wrong with you? And I loved that. I thought that was such a powerful question
Yeah,
because it opens that glimpse that you just described of, well, maybe there isn't anything wrong with me. Maybe there is, everything is fine, everything is okay. And for a lot of us, it's just glimpses. But I think holding on to those glimpses is really, really important because that tells you it's not a black or white situation. It is not everything is shit all the time. It's like, actually, no, I've got moments of feeling fine, feeling okay.
but yeah, and it is, the fact is, even if you were to hit, go lose lots of weight, something else. So this is what happens with me. If I feel like, oh, I'm feeling quite good in my body at the moment, oh, what's wrong with my hair? What's wrong with my wrinkles?
Mm,
Oh, my eyebrows are awful. Oh, I need to get my teeth whitened. Oh, and there is
mm,
always something to
hmm.
fix if you're going to go down that path. There
Yeah,
is ever not going to be anything to fix.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
as we age, as we get
yeah.
older, there's going to be more and more wrinkles on your face, and
Yep.
there's gonna be more sagginess because that is life, and that is the joy of life. And I think it's the way kind of older people in this society are viewed, which is disgraceful, and it's not the same in other cultures. It's kind
Mm,
of almost, oh, it's kind of like not as valuable, or just sort of let's put them over there, whereas they're kind of
mm,
the matriarchs and patriarchs of societies in many cultures, and really
yeah,
respected and held in high esteem. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
in this society, all we're doing is trying to not look like we're aging. What
yeah, yeah.
is that about?
I know,
Why?
I know. It's mad, isn't it? It's a privilege to be getting older, isn't it? I don't know. It's,
It's not, life is not easy. I think life is not easy, but I heard this great quote that pain, no, suffering is pain plus resistance. So it is
mm,
almost, you resist the fact that you're getting older, that you're going to have wrinkles. So, I kind of looking in the mirror today, I was like, why haven't my eyes got so many lines now? I've got proper crow's feet. And then I thought, but I'm 50. I'm literally 50 in a couple of months.
mm,
What
mm.
do I expect?
Well, you've been smiling a lot. You've been having fun.
This is what I mean. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of,
Yeah.
I can't expect to have, like, to look the same as I looked when I was 20 or 30.
No.
I'm no longer that age.
No, exactly. And I think it's hard to embrace that. I just want to go back to something you said, and we said off mic earlier about the nervous system, and I think you're absolutely bang on. I think it is so important to understand how much that plays a role in how quickly you recover from any body image disruptors, or whether it drags you down a rabbit hole. And I think I just want to ask you how do you, when things like that happen, how do you look after yourself and what do you do to not spiral, and what kind of nervous system work do you do that helps you? Is there anything that you sort of you in your toolkit that you use?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard in the moment. So I find it, depending on how I'm feeling, it's very hard in the moment to actually go to those tools.
Mm,
But once you do, then it's, because I thought today I had one, a little disruptor, and then I thought I'll go and sit in the garden and just listen to, do a bit of tapping, or I'll listen to a nice meditation. But I just spent the time worrying about, going, actually, I'm keeping like looking in the mirror, and so I'm not, I know that's dysregulated, because I know, like, hold on, Christine. So I caught myself and I'm like, right, make yourself a cup of coffee. You're going to take your mug. I got my Lucy mug, which is my inner critic, Lucy. Lucy from Charlie Brown. So
yeah,
got that from Sharon Salzberg, uses that. So I've got an inner critic in my head. So I'm going to sit with her. So I made myself
yeah,
a cup of coffee and then just like sat down with Lucy. And I'm like, what is going on with you?
love it.
And then I had to teach a class. So I kind of just had to,
Yeah,
that's the hardest thing. When I'm in that zone, it's very hard to pull it out and be present
yeah,
with other people. But
yeah.
yeah, I think that's
I
a,
love that question, that what is wrong with you? I think it's nothing wrong with you, but maybe what is going on? Because there will be other things that are going on at the same time. And sometimes I think we ignore that. We just focus on, oh, we've had this really bad body image thought. but maybe that only happened because we just had an argument with somebody, or we're stressed because we have 500 billion things to do, or, we really just rather want to sit in the garden and not teach a class. There's all sorts of different things that could be going on for you. Um, that I always say it's not about the food, but it's often also not about the body. It's often about something else, but the body is the scapegoat, and it kind of just sort of jams us off track where we're feeling a little bit vulnerable anyway.
And it's like it's almost like a coping mechanism in itself, isn't it? Because we're by focusing in on our body, we're not worrying about that bigger thing
Exactly.
that actually is
Yeah.
quite is serious, or is, do you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
your actual how your body looks, how many wrinkles you have is not, it's not life or death.
No.
But that's where your brain goes, because it almost thinks
Exactly.
this is familiar.
Yeah.
That's too scary to think about. Let's hold
Uh-huh.
it here. And the
Exactly.
problem is that this feels really uncomfortable and can end up then becoming a problem in itself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So taking you away from being present and taking you away from actually, yeah, as in,
Yeah. It's interesting because I think you're right. I think it's a distraction from the actual issue at hand. And also what you said earlier about what was interesting is how you can sort of transfer if you're feeling okay about your body, you transfer it to, oh, my face looks wrinkly, or my hair's not great today, or I look tired, or whatever. You can transfer those kind of thoughts onto anything. And it just shows you how your brain works and always wants to find something to distract from the other
and
thing that's going on.
do you know the funniest thing? And I think this is so true. When I wasn't worrying about wrinkles, I never saw them when I looked in the mirror. I
Yeah.
just saw what was wrong with the body,
Right.
so too big, or this is too big. And now that I'm kind of feeling okay about my body, the only thing I see in the mirror is the wrinkles. The only thing I can see are those
Yeah.
wrinkles. And the only thing I can see in other people walking down the street is their wrinkles. And
Mhm.
it's like your brain just homes in. And it's completely ridiculous, because when I wasn't thinking about them, I didn't even notice them. Weren't
Mhm.
Didn't even bother me at all.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? How your brain goes.
Yeah, and I want to normalize that for people.
Mm.
I think what we're trying to say is that there's not a way to stop these thoughts coming, because we're socialized to think that we should look a certain way, which is crap. So they're going to keep coming, but we can stop the spiral,
Hmm.
you know. Well,
Hmm.
not every time immediately, but we can find our own toolkit to stop that, which can be
Yeah.
really helpful. Can't.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. I often find that prevention is better than sort of trying to, as you said, when you're in that moment, it's really hard to pick out the right tool to deal with it. And sometimes it's just not feasible. You might be at work, or you might be in a situation where you can't just take 10 minutes out and meditate. It's not always it's not always an option. But what I find really helps the people that I worked with and myself is to practice those tools and using those tools when you don't need to use them.
Yeah.
So, practicing regulating your nervous system on a daily basis is going to be really helpful, because your nervous system will be less likely triggered into fight or flight if it's already starting on a calm foundation. Does that make sense? So I think if you are working on reducing your stress level and calming your nervous system on a regular basis, having those triggers might just momentarily flare up some sort of fight or flight danger response. But because you've trained your nervous system to be in a calm, relaxed state most of the time, it can come down again quite quickly. It's almost sort of, it knows what to do. Whereas if you're always on high alert and everything is a trigger and everything tells you, oh, there's danger ahead, um, you might then spiral with those thoughts, and it might just, take over, I think.
Yeah, and I think you are spot on. The only caveat I put in there is if you have ADHD,
Mm.
might have it's that kind of doing your homework like 2 weeks before you need to.
Yeah,
Never,
no,
it's
not
not
gonna
gonna.
happen.
So is that kind of deadline driven, or
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm feeling bad, I better do some nervous system
Yeah.
regulation. So I think you'd have to build in some timers or some sort of system
Right.
do if you do have a neurodivergent brain where you struggle with that routine.
Hmm.
Because that's quite, I think you're spot on with that, and I think its prevention is definitely better.
Mm. So with an ADHD brain, what would you say might be helpful then? As you said, ti setting timers, factoring it in, but that might not always, your brain might not always like that. So
Knowing that, as Stephanie Michelle says, you don't have to have a formal practice.
yeah.
Literally, and I listened to a podcast with Deb Dana who does
Oh
the
yeah.
polyvagal theory,
Yeah.
and she was talking about these glimmers that literally, even in the midst of a absolute fight or flight or real activation of your nervous system, and you're in sympathetic mode, survival mode, panic, you can still notice things. You know, you might taste a coffee and go, "Oh, that's amazing," or you might see a flower that's beautiful, or you that is still possible even when you're in this state. So it's trying to look to notice, just look around and try and notice something that you like, or that you look at the sea, look at the hills, look at the sky, look at, do you know what I mean? Look at a pet,
Yeah. Yeah.
anything like that. So you don't need a lot of time out. You can just literally look around your room and think, or really like if you've got a film poster, really like that film, or do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Anything
Yeah.
that is just going to find that little glimmer somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, because it snaps your brain out of that spiral, doesn't it? It distracts it even just momentarily, but it really, yeah, I love that so much. I think that's great. It's a bit like the that 5 4 3 2 1 thing where you do 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, that sort of thing. It really works because it takes you out of that thought spiral, that anxiety, that negativity, because it distracts you. But your brain can't do two things at the same time. It just can't. So moving to a different thing, to a different thought, to a different whatever you notice. I love that. That's brilliant. What was the podcast?
Um, I don't know. It was just Deb Dana. Oh, it was Deb Dana and Sharon Salzberg
Oh,
just talking
wow.
about polyvagal theory, and it was
Yeah.
really
I think
interesting.
Deb Dana is teaching one of the modules. I've just joined a course on somatic work. Um, it's not the one Stephanie Michelle talked about because that is a huge commitment and also very expensive. So I just thought I'd see how I get on. But Deb Dana is teaching one of the modules on polyvagal theory, I think. So
What
I'm
she
excited.
said, which I found really interesting, she said, if you are not, so there's that ventral vagal state, which is when you're kind of social, safe and social, when you're feeling safe. And she was kind of making the point that you can't really hold space for your clients if you're not in that space.
Mm,
So if you're in an activated state, they're
mm,
not going to feel safe around
mm,
you.
mhm.
I was like, bloody hell. Shh.
Yeah.
I'm often, I mean, I'm in the ventral vagal a lot with clients, but I'm also in that a bit sort of activated state where I'm masking because I
Mm,
don't want to waste their time and I want them to have a regular session. So
yeah.
it was like, oh, so I really need to take care of my nervous system because I want my clients to, above all, feel safe with me. That is the kind of key value that I
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. We'll put a link to her in the show notes as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Please do. I will definitely click on that. I would love to listen to that.
But do you notice, Ella, having a daughter, do you notice that she has any disruptors, or is she quite, if you don't want to talk about your daughter, you
No,
don't.
no, I'm happy to. Does she have any disruptors? I'm sure she does. She's very, I think her and her peers are very, um, it's a very different generation, but they're very uh hyper focused on what they look like. She spends ages doing makeup that looks like she's not wearing makeup, that sort of thing, that sort of look that's quite popular. Um, and at the same time, she seems quite comfortable in her own skin. But I think, I don't know. I know that she has got friends with eating disorders, and I know that she has people in her peer group that are really focused on what they look like, what they wear, how they present themselves. They're very self-conscious in that sense. And I would say she's probably less self-conscious than some of them. But I'm sure she has those disruptors. I mean, you've got two girls, you will have noticed that as well with your two.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, yeah, as you say, it's a different generation, and
Mm.
there's lots of makeup, lots of contouring and concealer,
Oh, and
skincare.
selfies.
And selfies. Yeah, my girls are very different from each other.
Mm,
It's so yeah, and I can see the times. I can see the times when the disruptions come up, especially for my
mm,
youngest daughter, and it's that time when you see her just looking in a mirror for that second too long, where
mm,
you can see she's being really critical of herself.
mm,
Or it's the selfie that it's, if you look on her phone and there's just a million selfies because she's trying to find, you know, herself in a light that actually looks good. And you can, or a school photo, that can be a
mm.
disruptor, and they're always awful. That was really bad. Sorry if you're a school photographer, I apologize profusely.
Some of them are really nice. My daughter got her three copies back, and she said she was okay with one of them, and she said I look constipated in all of the others. That was her description of her photos.
I think our school just do one. You just get one.
Oh, right. Okay. One shot. That's it. Done.
I think the main disruptor are the other kids in the class.
Hmm. Yeah.
So the other kids that say, "Oh, you look better when you were this," or "Oh,
Yeah.
you've got really round cheeks," or "Oh, your nose is big." I mean, Mia's being told her nose is big, and I tell you what, she's got the best qualities of me, and that does not include a big nose. She's got a beautiful nose that I would have paid good money for in my teens, but for some reason, kids in school are mean, and they like to just give abuse for no reason, and it is.
Yeah.
I think it's, if they're trying to get attention, all of that. And that is very hard to bat away when you are a kid who struggles with body image anyway. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I think there's many disruptors for our teens out there. I think social media, massive, 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 massive disruptor.
Huge.
Um,
Huge.
shows, there's so many shows with your gorgeous, teens, flawless teens, which wasn't the
Hmm.
case when we were growing up. I remember Home and Away. I remember people looking kind of, well,
Oh,
for
gosh.
Hemsworth, but everybody else looking quite normal.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you don't see that much at all, do you? And I get eye rolls, but I continue to point it out that they don't look like real people. And what I've noticed also is that there's so many young people. I mean, obviously I don't check their passports to see how old they are, but they can't be older than 20 with lip fillers, with cheek fillers, with the eyebrows and the eyelashes and the all of that. Um, at an age where you think, wow, that's very young. And I think that probably comes from comments from the disruptors from seeing people on social media and films and programs that they watch.
It's, I mean, and there's never any judgment there. I just been sad for teens
Mm.
seeing that they have to change their face,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what are we saying? Because us, we could ramble on for.
Yeah, we can. I don't know what I don't, to be honest with you, Christine, I don't know what we're saying because, we haven't got the holy grail of this is what you need to do. But I think what I would say is that practicing being compassionate to yourself when you have those thoughts, practicing things ahead of when you have those disruptors, looking after your nervous system beforehand so that you have tools that can drag you back to a place that feels safe when you have those disruptors. And also, actually, what we said right at the beginning, understanding that those disruptors are normal, but you don't have to attach meaning to them. You don't have to act on them.
And, I'll give it for those that aren't that versed in kind of nervous system stuff, because we've talked a lot about that.
Mm.
A very sort of basic example is like my daughter in the morning can't find her shoes. I'm fine, I'm all calm and lovely. And then my daughter can't find her shoes and she's panicking. So immediately I'm like, what? And I literally, the heartbeat starts going and it's a panic. It's a panic
Mm.
situation. It's not a, oh, that's, I'll just come and help you look for your shoes,
Mm.
darling. And I can tell, oh, I'm really activated. I'm really kind of in that fight or flight panic.
Mm.
What are we going to do? And there's other times where you can be really flat, and there's other times that you can be in that nice, safe, and social.
Mm.
So it is trying to recognize where you are. So
Mhm.
we use movement. So sometimes I need activating. So if I'm feeling really flat and low, I want an energizing workout. If I'm feeling like that, sometimes I need to slow it down
Yeah.
and, do a bit of yoga, or just, not
Mm.
run, because that actually
Mhm.
makes things a little bit more.
Mhm.
So it's recognizing that within yourself is a really good start.
Yeah, that's really helpful actually. And also that kind of is the same as, not the same, but it sort of leads into the what else is going on so that you understand, where are you, what level of activation are you at? And that can help you to understand why you might have been so triggered by a thought or something, whatever it is, and
And,
understanding what you need in that moment.
and I think knowing that it's not, your body is not the problem.
No,
We can say that over and over because it's true.
yeah,
Your body is not the problem.
it's never the problem.
So just maybe think, be kind to yourself, see what else is going on for you, and know that the thoughts are natural, that it's
Mhm.
totally okay. We all have them, and it's just
Mhm.
because we're a product of the society we live in,
Mhm.
um, and it's not our fault, basically.
No.
That they do pass. Ring a friend, take a walk, do something nice for yourself, have a latte, uh, or just find, get off your phone.
Hmm.
Looking at the news at the minute is highly activating for all of us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be informed. 100% we should, but we need breaks from it. And just, yeah, just being really kind to yourself, I think, Ella.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our wisdom for you. There you go.
It's completely normal. We experience them,
Hmm.
and it is just about knowing that there are things that you can do that will make you feel a bit better, and it's never you. It's not your body, it's not your face, it's not your wrinkles, it's not you.
Hmm. It's not you.
Nothing to fix. You've nothing to fix.
Exactly that.
Well, we are very excited to have Bethany Rutter next week. Woo!
Lovely.
Author and PT extraordinaire. I adore Bethany's books, and she writes for young adults. But she got me reading again, and I'm very grateful to her.
You
Not
are a young adult, aren't you? So there you go.
anymore, darling.
No,
Not
you
anymore.
are. You're as young as you want to be.
But we're going to have her on the podcast next week, and I'm really very excited to talk to her. So watch this space and come and join us next week. In the meantime.
Yeah.